Recently, many states were demanding the designation of a special category status, more specifically Bihar and Andhra Pradesh. Though the center has always rebutted such demand, specifically since 2015, in the recent budget of 2024-25, center has granted these states a special package instead of special category status. So what is this special category status? How did this idea originate and evolve? Why these states were demanding such a status, and whether this granting of special package has ended this debate or not. All this and much more we are going to see in the current episode of Simplified. Hello everyone, myself Shubham Rathodi. When we got independence in 1947, we adopted a politically federal system for our country. India, right in the first article of the Constitution, is introduced as India, that is Bharat, shall be a union of states. So states from the inception of the Union of India were very important constituent of this newly created nation. But if you look at the constitutional scheme of things, both politically and financially, you will see the balance of power is tilted more towards the center than towards the state. And it is true even for the collection of tax revenue. So most of the revenues are collected by the center, but most of the responsibilities are shouldered by the states. There has to be some system to balance this unevenness. And there was a system that was adopted right in the Constitution itself. The Article 280 of the Constitution, there was a body that was set up called Finance Commission. It was responsible for the devolution of the tax collected at the center, from the center to the state, and then distribute those resources amongst the state on the basis of a formula. So this kind of transfer was very much formula based. But there was also another form of transfer resources that was from center to the state, and that was in the form of plan assistance. Now, what was this plan assistance? Right after independence, we adopted an economic system which was based on mixed economic model. That is, both the state and the markets were important for the economic development of the country. But here also there was imbalance. Here also the state will lead and market will follow. To implement these kind of things, the state started controlling most of the important sectors of the economy, the so-called commanding heights of the economy. And to implement this grand vision, plan-based model was adopted. That is, from now on, we will have fixed 5-year plan. To implement this plan, institutions were to set up. And the two institutions that were set up, one was Centralized Planning Commission and another was a federal associate of it, that is National Development Council. Now the assistance and the transfer of resources that was done from the center to the state through planning commission were called plan assistance. But how this plan assistance is connected to our topic of special category status? See, from the starting of the first 5-year plan in 1951 till 1969 when it started our fourth 5-year plan, there was no formula based transfer happening through this plan assistance mode. That is, the resources that were transferred from the planning commission to the state were not following any rule. It was purely in arbitrary fashion. Whereas in finance commission that we saw earlier, there was a formula based transfer that was happening from the center to the states. Murmurs started happening, especially in 1965 and 1967, started demanding that there should be a formula based transfer of plan assistance also. And in 1969, from the fourth 5-year plan, we adopted a system of formula-based transfer even in case of plan assistance. The formula that was adopted was called Gadgil formula. But before Gadgil formula was implemented, there were many other things that we had to do. Plan assistance was itself divided into 3 subparts: normal central assistance, special central assistance, and additional central assistance. The largest component was normal central assistance. Now, before the money is transferred from the center to the state in the form of normal central assistance, there were some states that were identified special because of the specific problem and specific circumstances. And initial 3 states were Jammu and Kashmir, Assam, and Nagaland. And these states were called as special category states, and thus arose the idea of special category states. So whatever money is being transferred through the normal central assistance to the state, 30% of the fund first will be reserved for these special category states, and then rest 70% of the money will be transferred to the other states which were called as general category states on the basis of the formula. And the formula that was adopted was called as Gadgil formula. Gadgil formula, named after D.R. Gadgil, the the then Deputy Chairman of the 4th Planning Commission, adopted several parameters to allocate resources to the general category status states. And these parameters were population, per capita income, tax effort, ongoing irrigation projects, and spatial problem. And these parameters were given different weights, and on the basis of this, the rest 70% of the money were allocated to the general category status states. So over time period, many states were identified as special category status states, and these states were having some common properties. These common properties were like hilly and difficult terrain, low population density and sizable share of tribal population, strategic location and sharing borders with the neighboring countries, economic and infrastructural backwardness, and unviable nature of state finances. So the states which were categorized as special category status states by the starting of the 12th five-year plan, that is the last five-year plan of India, increased from 3 to 11. And these states were all 7 northeastern states. It's Arunachal Pradesh, Nagaland, Manipur, Mizoram, Tripura, Meghalaya, Assam, along with that Sikkim, and then 3 Himalayan states, that is Jammu and Kashmir, Himachal Pradesh, and Uttarakhand. So now we were having 11 states categorized as special category status states. But what were the benefits that were enjoyed by these special category status states? One benefit we know, that before other states are sharing their pie in their plan assistance, 30% will be reserved for these special category status states. But apart from this, even the 30% that is coming to these states from the center in the form of plan assistance, 90% of that will be in the form of grants. On top of that, in the centrally sponsored schemes which are largely sponsored by the center but a matching contribution is also by the state, even in those schemes, 90% will be in the form of grants. Then 100% grants were given in some of the specified projects in these special category status states. And on top of that, these states were also getting many excise duty concession and also tax breaks for the companies or the industries and manufacturing units which were setting up in these states. So it was in the form of incentivization for the private sector to go and set up their facilities in these states and try to help these states in getting industrialized. So there were many benefits that were coming with this special category status tag, and that's why many more states over time period started demanding this special category status tag. And 2 of them that we are going to discuss are Bihar and Andhra Pradesh. Let's explore the case for Bihar. If you look into the Bihar State Planning Board report of 2013, it put forward many arguments in support for special category status for Bihar. It says that Bihar is having a deficiency in infrastructure of all sorts. On top of that, Bihar is also experiencing for decades developmental deficit, whether it's economic, social, or human development in terms of health, education, or skills. On top of this, also Bihar was also low and slow in industrialization. And this problem was compounded by the reorganization of Bihar in 2000, when Jharkhand, a resource-rich region of Bihar, was carved out as a separate state. So whatever resources and minerals Bihar was having now were transferred to the Jharkhand. So Bihar is also a region which is every year suffering from natural disaster like flood. So Kosi is still a sorrow of Bihar. Many proponents of the special category status of Bihar has also forwarded a new argument, and they have said that Bihar has always suffered from the neglect, whether it is pre-independence or post-independence or post-liberalization 1990. So they connect the sorry state of Bihar even with 1991 liberalization reform. Now there are 2 studies to corroborate this argument, and one of the study is by Dr. Montek Singh Ahluwalia, the deputy chairman of the last planning commission, who in his paper titled as Economic Performance of the State in Post-Reform Period says that most of the benefits of the liberalization and the opening of the economy was taken by the states who were already richer. That is, those states which were having higher institutional capacity and more resources were able to take more advantage of new economic opportunity that were opened up after liberalization. Now, the same kind of argument is supported by another paper, a working paper which was written by Jeffrey D. Sachs. Now, Jeffrey D. Sachs is a world-renowned American economist and authority on sustainable development. He, in his working paper for the Harvard Center of International Development, titled as Understanding Regional Economic Growth in India, argues that there was a marked divergence in economic growth and income level of the state post-reform. So, post-reform, those states which were poorer had to pay penalty, and those states which were richer were growing faster. So, the benefits of 1991 reforms have not equally spread out. Poor states have become poorer and richer states have become richer, and therefore regional inequality has increased. And therefore the proponents of special category status says that if you have to bridge this regional inequality, you have to bestow these poorer states with special category status tag. In fact, this argument is again seconded by a committee headed by former RBI Governor Raghuram Rajan. This was a committee for evolving a composite development index for the state. Even this committee says that Bihar is one of the least developed state in India only after Odisha. But it fell short of giving a special category status tag to Bihar. It said that there has to be some new mechanism that has to be adopted so as to help Bihar instead of a special category status tag. By looking into this whole argument and also the outcome of the Bihar Socio-Economic Caste Census Survey of 2022, Bihar Assembly passed a resolution demanding a special category status tag for a state in which more than a third of the people are poor. But if this is the case for Bihar, then what is the case for Andhra Pradesh? If you look at the case for Andhra Pradesh, the case for Andhra Pradesh is more of a recent origin, especially after 2nd of June 2014. 2nd of June 2014 was the date when the state of Andhra Pradesh was reorganized and two new states were created, the Andhra Pradesh and then the Telangana. Now most of the resources, including the capital, which was giving most of the money to the existing state of Andhra Pradesh, went to Telangana. Andhra Pradesh was deprived of the resources, deprived of the most important city, of the revenue, but was bestowed with responsibilities, obligation and higher population, and therefore it started making its case for special category status. Not only this, now newly created Andhra Pradesh will have to develop its own capital city, and it also required more resources. Therefore, Andhra Pradesh for the last 10 years was arguing for a special category status tag. But though the states were putting forward their claim again and again, Centre was rebutting their demand, especially so since 2015. And the two principal arguments Centre was putting forward was number one, that from 2015 there is no such thing as Planning Commission. Planning Commission was abolished and from 1st of January 2015 was replaced by Niti Aayog. Niti Aayog was not having any kind of mandate for planning in the way the Planning Commission was having. So if there is no Planning Commission, there is no plans. If there are no plans, then there are no plan assistance. And if there is no plan assistance, then there is no question of favoring few states over other states whenever this plan assistance is transferred from center to the state. So the first point was, because there is no planning commission, we have moved ahead of the era of plans, so there is no question of favoring few states over other states. The second argument that was put forward by the central government again and again was a 14th Finance Commission report. Central government said that 14th Finance Commission report, the awards of which were operational between 2015 to 2020, has not mentioned anything about special category status and general category status. Also, the 14th Finance Commission has increased the amount of the funds that are transferred from the divisible pool from 32% to 42%. And therefore, now more and more resources are transferred from the center to the state. So there is no question of giving more additional resources in form of special category status. But this point was contested by the member of the same 14th Finance Commission, and the member was M. Govinda Rao. M. Govinda Rao, while writing an op-ed piece in one of the famous national daily, argued, to be sure, The terms of reference of 14th Finance Commission did not require it to deal with the categorization of states into the special category and non-special category. Therefore, it was not required to make any recommendation on the issue. Nor is the classification of the states into general and special categories the creation of the Constitution, and therefore the Finance Commission, which was formed under Article 280 of the Constitution, has no business to make any recommendation on the issue. Therefore, attributing blame to the 14th Finance Commission for the inability to accord special category status is clearly misleading. So this was the argument put forward by M. Govinda Rao, that blaming 14th Finance Commission for not giving special category status is not the right one. Apart from this, government recently has also quoted Inter-Ministerial Group report, where Inter-Ministerial Group in 2012 denied giving any kind of special category status to Bihar. So these are the arguments which are always time and again were put forward by the government for not giving any more states any kind of special category status tag. But more recently, especially after the 2024 Lok Sabha election, political dynamics have changed. Now, the center is dependent on the support of two critical partners. These two critical partners are Janata Dal United and Telugu Desam Party. Janata Dal United ruling the state of Bihar. Telugu Desam Party ruling the state of Andhra Pradesh. Both are ruling their respective states, and both are very important critical support for the BJP in ruling the center. And therefore, with the changed political dynamics, instead of giving special category status, the government at the center in the recent budget of 2024 and 2025 granted them with a special package. This special package for Bihar was for more than 50,000 crore. It included infrastructure projects of airports, of power plants, of industrial corridor with its node at Gaya district of Bihar, and then it also included a new project called Purvodaya, that is the development of the east, where not only Bihar but even Jharkhand, Andhra Pradesh, Odisha, West Bengal, all of these states will be developed through a comprehensive program. For Andhra Pradesh, the promise was of more than 15,000 crore. Here, most of the money will go for the redevelopment of the capital of Andhra Pradesh, that is Amravati. Apart from this, a special package will also be going for the backward region of Andhra Pradesh like Rayalaseema and Prakasham district. And on top of that, government has also promised for the revival of the Polavaram irrigation projects. So both the state of Bihar and the Andhra Pradesh have been promised a special package in the recent budget. But a special package, though may look special, but is not as special as special category status, because the special category status was having permanency in nature, whereas this special package is much more dependent on the political dynamics as of today. So the helping hand is provided, but it is short of a special category status. The nation has already moved ahead of its single party dominating the national scene. Now we are again in the era of coalition politics. The demand by the states and the regional parties cannot be easily ignored. Though the center has given the special package, and the party ruling the states of Bihar and Andhra Pradesh, which are also the coalition partner in the center, has welcomed that, but still the opposition is asking the question, especially from the party in Bihar, that why they have surrendered their demand for a special category status. Whether this demand for special category status will end or not, especially in Bihar where elections are due next year, it's difficult to say. So we are living in interesting times, and much will depend on how the political dynamics will change over the year. So the demand was important one, and a compromise was achieved in the form of special package. But it will be interesting to see that how far the special package will be able to settle the debate for special category status. Thank you for watching. We'll meet again with yet another episode. Till then, goodbye.